What's going on, y'all? It's your boy James Gibbons here.
We'll see.
Welcome to another episode of your Chromas Podcast, episode 121. We want to thank you for joining us today. If you're listening, that means Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any of those, we thank you for putting us in your ear. But if you're watching us and you're looking at our faces right now, we are once again in the same location. Man, what a time to be alive. What I need to do is these three things. Because you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You see, the next time you hop on YouTube and you do all those three things, you will feast your eyes on the latest episode of the Chromas Podcast, the only place where you can find gems, actionable gems that you can apply to your life today. And most of all, we'll see.
It's free to do so.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You can't say that word very often.
Never.
So take advantage of it while you can, please.
All the time.
Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Gonna add on a couple of more things. Can you also share? And if you're really digging this episode and the topics we're talking about, comment below. We can keep it up, keep it going, pick right up where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be waiting for you when you get there. But again, it's free to do so. So help us grow by taking advantage of those things.
Unbelievable. We'll see what a week it has been. I want to start off this week with a little something special. Now, of course, we are recording this podcast on a Friday evening, so the news is already broken by the time you guys hear this or see this on Sunday. But I got to let you guys know, man, the Washington Commanders have finally sold to another person other than Dan Snyder. We'll see. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to hear that. I cannot tell you that. I cannot tell you.
The first thing that just come to my mind is like celebrate good times.
You know, I was actually looking for a moment like this by Kelly Clarkson. I had it saved on my phone. I was gonna play it right now, y'all, so y'all can hear it as I am just bellowing with excitement because of the fact that we no longer have to deal with the devil Dan. It's been 20 plus years of hell. All of my Commanders fans or football team fans or Redskins fans understand what we had to go through for all this time, not making the playoffs, being under 500 every year, doing some really terrible draft picks, paying too much for free agency or not paying enough for free agent. I mean, the list goes on. And then beyond that, right? That's just the on-field stuff. Now off the field, the guy's a scumbag. Taking these cheerleaders over to an island for these exclusive folks to see them without clothes. There's some tapes involved. There's this, there's that. Allegedly. These are all alleged things. This is all we're hearing. We're just reporting the same thing that we're hearing to you. But this was all that was out there. But we don't have to deal with that anymore, Commanders fans or football team fans or Washington Redskins fans. We are free from the stranglehold that Daniel Mackenzie Snyder, that's not his middle name, Mackenzie Snyder has put on the football team out here in Washington. FedEx Field is going to be bumping. I cannot wait until September 10th of this year. The Washington Commanders will take on none other than the Arizona Cardinals in the home opener. We'll see. I'm going to be there. I don't care what it costs. I will pay $1,000 to sit front row and celebrate the first time in franchise history where we do not have to worry about Dan Mackenzie Snyder. I cannot wait. I've never been this excited for almost anything in my life. We'll see. From the time when I was 10, when I started looking at this team, and God bless my father who was on the podcast last week, episode 120, DJ Bob the Wiz. Take your time to go look at it. It's a great episode. But he was the one that introduced me to the Washington Commanders, and I had to deal with this for the past 20-something years, man. I don't have to deal with it anymore. Thank the Lord. We've got Magic in town. We've got Josh Harris in town. It's going to be amazing. We'll see. How do you feel about this news, man?
I don't know, man. I've been pinching myself since I found out because I am like, is this real? Like, is this Christmas is like not until later this year, and we were gifted with something so tremendous. I mean, yeah, like like you said, 20 plus years in, 30 plus years myself. I come from a split household where you were either a Cowboys fan or you were a Redskins fan.
Yep.
So I drew the line where I decided to be. Fortunately enough for me, I was still a part of making a good decision when we won the Super Bowl back in. So
it's a good time.
that was a good time. But then after that, like it just was downhill. Very, very emotionally driven relationship.
Yeah.
It hasn't been great, as we know. But listen, whether we win or lose that first game, it's gonna be epic. It's gonna represent something different. And we have, I feel like, some good people in town that's gonna really get the passion, get the rhythm of what we need, what we've been lacking for decades. And yeah, man, like if ever a time to be excited about what can come, this is it, man. Like this is it. So looking forward to doing it. Like I hope you guys are celebrating with us. If you're just a fan of a team in general, you understand what we've been through. You know what we're going through. Only haters out there is probably Cowboys, but even you guys got to respect this because we've been through hell and back. So this is our time. We're gonna shine. We're gonna enjoy it. And yeah, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have the honest chance to acknowledge that, guys.
Yep. At the beginning of the episode, that was the right thing to do. I found out via text, immediately hop on the socials and was just liking every single post regarding the Washington Commanders. This is what a time to be alive. What a time to be a fan of the Washington team. We are so excited. And to those owners out there who may not know a lot about our history or a lot about what we've been through or about us as fans, like we are the most loyal fan base in sports. And I mean that wholeheartedly. All of the things that we had to go through from how they tried to remember Sean Taylor to where we've been, it still hurts. And I hope they do something. And I have a strong feeling they're going to do something to right that wrong. But there's so many other things that even I can't remember because it was year after year after year after year of bad decisions. And we were still here. Right? You see us at events with the Skins jersey in the back because nobody wanted to rock with us, right? We haven't even sniffed the playoffs in years, but we are still here as fans. So Magic Johnson, Josh Harris, whoever else is part of that group that's coming in, first of all, welcome. The red carpet is laid out for you. The music is playing. We got a mariachi band in the back. We got some shots on the table for you guys to take. Look, Party Central all season for the rest of you guys, for as long as you guys are going to be here. We're going to party. We're going to live it up because anything is better than what we had. But most of all, you're going to get the strongest support system in sports by far, by far. The most loyal fan base, the most hungry fan base, and the fan base that will support you regardless. We can go 0-17 this next year, and I guarantee you there is going to be a line in 2024 for when that season starts because we just love our team. We love this city. We love everything about it. So we want to tell you that it is very important for you guys to know that you have a strong base here. You have a strong support system here. We will follow you to the ends of the earth, even if it hurts our feet. So just know that there's a strong support system. And I want to say support system, we'll see, because in our line of work, in our business, and the things that we do, sometimes we feel as though that support system that we may have is not as strong as it could be. And I think, as you mentioned before this episode, we'll see, and I'm glad you brought up this topic. I think it is a great topic to dive into because I know there are others out there that are probably going through the same thing. You're building something yourself. You've got people who are around you, who know you personally, know how much you're grinding, know how much you're putting in, but for whatever reason, they are just not able to connect the dots when it comes to supporting. So this is something that we want to dive in. We'll see. I want you to really hop into this and let us know, like, what does that support system out there look like? How do you think it feels, number one, to be supported, but then not to be supported? Because I think right now, in all honesty, we aren't feeling that kind of love. So what does it feel like to not feel that kind of love? And how do you think a lot of the people out there who know us personally could support us?
Wow. Yeah, that is definitely a loaded question. I, I mean, but the simplify would be intentionality. You know, it's a bit devastating when you have people that you would consider to be of a support system,
Sure.
some of your closest confidants and people that you'll be there for, at a drop of a dime, in all ways, and it's not reciprocated.
Mm.
It's hard to process that sometimes. We all have a life of our own. We
Sure.
all have
Yep.
our own perspectives, and we have things that we like and we dislike.
Mhm.
But I do believe if you are a person who's supporting someone or state that you do, you are intentional about it. It doesn't
Mhm.
always have to mean something that's going to cost you financially to uplift and support someone. Sometimes it's as simple as just, giving them a little reassurance in what they're doing, especially if you believe what they're attempting to achieve.
Sure.
Everyone aims for greatness, but it isn't something that everyone is fortunate enough to achieve without at some point in time having pivotal moments where the support came through to remind them along the way of their journey, right?
Mhm.
um I was telling you earlier about me and the support I got in a very random place from a local legend, just getting back in my fitness and going through the motions of the injuries I had and not knowing if I still had it in me. And I'm getting older, and
Mhm.
I was worried about it, and it was in my head. And just being able to meet him in the moment, on the jog in the trail was a bucket list for me, and in a way
Mhm.
I just never expected it when I felt kind of low. And
Mhm.
so support can come in all forms and
Mhm.
in variations in life. But as I would think everyone would feel and agree with this, it means so much more when it comes from the people that you would love to hear it from.
That's true.
Um,
But why do you think that strangers
mhm,
tend to support you more or quicker or without some sort of expectation on their end
mhm.
before people who know you intimately?
That's a good question. I think you could split that into two parts, right? Two components. Like one, you I do believe you have those people who are what we call the bandwagon riders,
Mm.
who once you've acquired an acclaimed amount of notoriety, they want to be a part of that feeling of riding high of something that's great or that every other person see, even if they don't get it right away.
Mm.
But then you do have on the other side of it those group of people where they see you, they see potential, they recognize it, they can identify it a lot of the times because those are the same people who are seekers and go getters on their own accord in their own right.
Mm. Sure.
So they're able to identify it a lot more easily than the average Joe would,
Mm.
even in someone that you would consider to be in your support group. And
Mm.
from in my humble opinion, I think
Okay.
like it's along those lines.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I think when people do interact, I mean, especially with social media, right? Because
Mhm,
the majority of engagement or conversation that really happens now is on socials, especially with strangers.
mhm,
You wouldn't have a stranger's number. So the next step is to make a comment or something or make a post
mhm,
that means a lot to somebody out there in the ether.
mhm,
And then they go ahead and they respond accordingly because it might be something they're going through, something they can relate to, or something they want to interact with more. And with doing this podcast and being able to interact with strangers, I think for me it's been so much fun.
mhm,
It's been beneficial because we start to learn exactly what people are having issues with, even if we don't necessarily ask that particular question.
mhm.
As we do at the end of all of our episodes, we always have that call to action where it's like, hey, we want to turn it over to you guys. How you guys feel about this? What is your thoughts on this? We want to hear your story. Well, I do think when we put that out there, maybe there are some people out there who are just not ready to share their story,
That's fair.
even if it is in a DM or anything like that. It's like, man, I don't know these guys. They're saying some really real stuff, and I can relate to a lot of the things they're saying. It's happened to me personally, but I'm not ready to take that next step to say, hey, man, yeah, you guys are right about this. You guys are reading me like a book. But I think with those who are close to you, some of them may feel some type of way because they think that you're bringing them up in particular episodes. So they may
Interesting.
feel a little bit more insecure
Mhm.
or just turned off by the fact that, damn, I can relate to that. And why is he talking about that? Why is he mentioning that? Because there was a story that I told him 5 years ago on the 4th day of May that something like this happened, and now it's being brought up in this episode. I don't like that. So it's weird how, from their perspective, it feels like it's more of an attack because they know you personally. So I think they take that, and with that knowledge, they're like, yeah, that was definitely meant for me, and I'm taking it personally because you're coming at me wrong, versus somebody who you don't know who would listen to it and say, damn, you know what, you're right. I do need to slow down. I do need to practice a little bit more patience. I need to understand what emotional intelligence feels like.
So they're not able to associate the relatability to that person because they don't know.
I think that's absolutely key.
Yeah.
And I think, I think another example to that would be like a book, right? If you're reading a personal development book or something like that, like one of my good books that I've read was David Goggins' book. That was a very difficult book to get through because there were so many truths that he was going through at that time. And I saw so much of myself in some of the things that he was going through. But now, if it was somebody that I knew personally, I would have to ask myself, okay, is this man taking things from my life that I've told him personally and putting it in his book and saying that's something that he went through? Or on top of that, hey, I know David Goggins personally, he's not going through that. This is all cap. He's just writing this book to get this fame and fortune and all that stuff. So I feel as though people who don't know somebody personally benefit off of the story that they're telling, just from the relatability, not necessarily how close they are to that particular situation personally.
So I guess to keep that going along further, so how do I put this? So my interpretation is that it's just the idea that me, I've confided, or we have history enough that even though you're not flat out saying that this is about me, the explanation that is shared is too familiar to handle.
Yeah.
So I guess that does chalk it up to the insecurity of that person. And I think, sometimes that not only that insecurity is the idea that what their perception of you becomes, because it's like maybe they feel you have a certain amount of arrogance or bravado or the nerve to speak on subjects that most people deal with that they would rather keep indoors to not have to address the emotions that is required to overcome them.
Yeah.
So you, in essence, become, I don't say an enemy, but you become, a problem for me, where I can't be here to tolerate what's evident that I need to address in my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm not ready. And just because you're ready doesn't mean I have to be. So I'm not going to support you because I'm not ready to get there.
That last part have to be. I don't have to be ready.
I don't have to be.
It's just not my season to be ready. Who are you to tell me that I need to be? Right? This is the attitude that they bring about.
But as you stated, it's easier to accept it from a stranger who knows nothing about you, because you can still conceal the emotions of knowing that it's relatable to you and still say, you know what, this is dope. Because we could say the same thing that someone else has said and word it in a way we can explain that's way more simplified and that you can really connect with. And someone else could say something similar and it could be extremely broad and no intellect to it to really make it relatable, and that person would be more supported. You like if you put your friends, probably, and this is the crazy thing, I'll be honest with you, if you took your friends and you gave them, and they had the ability to take a test of liking or supporting your content versus someone else who does the same thing as you, have unbiased an opportunity to listen to both, have a blind, like to people that's providing it, chances are that's very telling to where they stand if they don't support you, not because your quality isn't good, but especially if it's coming from someone who has acknowledged and know to say that what you're providing is a great service, and I do support you in what you're doing. But you can't give a reason as to why you're not openly supporting me. And I think that's the problem that I have is there are a lot of people who I know, hey, I'm gonna put some of you out there, and it's fine because we've discussed it, but let's put it out there and be truthful. You'll say that the quality of what's been provided to you or the services that has been given to don't stop and continue to do it. But how can you expect that of someone when you're not even openly supporting it? At the very least, sharing the content that you believe to be helpful to someone else, right? Because we're not speaking on anything that isn't relatable to us first.
That's very
not
true.
you. So it's not about you. If you find the content to be relatable, then you are a part of a whole circle of like-minded individuals who are just going through the emotions of life and trying to maintain and just choosing to be as positive and open with yourself about what we're going through in this thing we call life.
100%.
So to me, if you're someone who shies away from openly supporting someone else, to me, I feel like that's a bit of resentment in some way because it's not you. Because a lot of people do it. Like, but yet these are the same people who want the same support from you. They want you to support them openly for what they're doing. And then you give them the support and they won't even acknowledge what you provide as a service, especially if it's something that's beneficial in a good way of giving back. And I think we're just in a time where it's so superficial because again, you can have someone else, like, for example, and this is something I guess is very simple, but think about it this way. You got an artist that you know, someone who does music, who has really good dope music, and you know it is, and they just needed to bandwidth to get out. Each one person that has an opportunity to hear how dope it is, it doesn't hurt you to be able to put that out there for others who may find it just to be just as interesting as you do. But yet we will acknowledge and we will praise and celebrate those out there who are already within the stratosphere of being known. And even if it's garbage of what they're putting out,
which most
it's
of it is.
none of it, like majority of a lot of, well, in different areas is garbage.
Pretty trash.
You're going to support them, but then you have the nerve to go to the person and be like, man, yo, you heard this new song, this new track out? Yeah, this song's garbage, but you shared it to me. And I have something of quality that you told me that you didn't. So one of two things. Either you are unable to be truthful about how you feel about what I'm giving, then that's a problem, because you should be willing to be truthful and the person should be willing to receive it. Or, you know, you just are not at a place where you really grasp the importance of helping to others grow and blossom and to make a difference in the ways that they know how with their strength. Because the saddest part to me about it is there are some folks out there who has a team of people who do support them. And a lot of the time the most successful artists in whatever they do, people that you see behind the scenes, is the team that put them that works just as hard as they do, to keep them ahead, because they understand that they don't have to be the star in the movie. It's not about them.
True.
They're not the star in the movie. Sometimes you can know people like that's a talent in their own right, and you see how they're good in aspects of it, and you can enhance being a part of that process with your skill set too. But guess what? You all win. So, like, I'll give you an example. We talked about this recently. What are they named? It's a YouTube group, Supreme.
Supreme Dreams or something.
Yeah,
Supreme
like
Dream One or something
those,
like that. Shout out to
young men. Shout out to y'all. Those young men has been diligently working for a very long time. Probably longer than most of us even know. But there's a bond there of like working where no one person feel like they're bigger than the other. They're a team and they all working for one common goal, and they've arrived in the place where they're, that hard work pays off. And guess what? Each one teach one, so one passed along based on what people saw. So the engine itself was working. And imagine if like one or two of them was like not really about it, or was BSing, and they really didn't believe in it, or just was like, this ain't really it.
Yeah.
But pretend like they were still going along with it. Nah. The thing about it is when you say you support someone, you got to be all in or not. And hell, sometimes be willing to step up if you support them. Because, for example, if you have a team of like, just a couple of folks, depending on what you're doing, you may need other integral parts to help you expand on it so that it can grow and be what it could, the best that it could become. But if you're stuck in your ways and you're not really on that type wave to support them, but yet you're wondering like what's taking them so long to get going, or you're the same type of person like, damn man, it's kind of crazy that nobody's really, you guys are good, man. Whoa, you still doing this? You've been doing it for a while. Yeah, I am, because I'm committed to what I'm doing, and you could be a part of helping to help it grow to be what it is, because it is making a difference. But it's a level of selfishness that we humans harbor, that we can't stand the idea of someone else possibly doing something greater in their time on this earth than ours. So it's easy again to in person, but it's easier to hide behind, social media of like, I can observe in the shadows, and to you separately, I admire and tell you, hey, that's dope, man. It's pretty cool. And to me, I think that's BS. Like, I don't think it's a fluffer. Like you're fluffing somebody. You're not really. How could they really be able to grow their art and what they're doing if you're not going to at least be 100 with them all the way? So that's a part of supporting too, as we mentioned earlier. Like, it's not just one way. It's so many different parts you can offer support. Like, we've had people along the way on our journey that told us, look, you got to work on your identity, or like your lighting is off. There's certain things that, we were helped with along the way, and it served its purpose, and they served their purpose in believing in us, but we've also had the encounter of those folks who like, what you do is great, the quality of what you put out is amazing, but you're not fucking supporting us. And that's the truth of it. It's the truth. And but I've had people who will openly support something else, or like recently, I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put you out there, but you know who you are, because I was just working out. I was at the gym.
Oh wow. Okay.
I had our Chroma's hoodie on. I was working out. I got a call. And in the conversation, it was referenced about them needing a hoodie. So here's the part right here that people are people. So I suggested like, hey, well, clearly I have a hoodie on with my brand. And yo, you need a hoodie, just let me know. I got you. Matter of fact, I have a discount for you. Like, I got you. Like, Black owned business as well. Like, support us, support me. And guess what? We're supporting everyone else. It's not just going. Listen, whenever we make revenue, it don't go into our pockets. I think people need to be clear about it. We don't benefit financially for what we do. Any product money that we've made has been an investment back into Chroma's. It has not went to us at all.
We have not earned a penny.
Not a penny directly to us.
Nope.
And we wouldn't want it to be that way, because we have jobs that we have a sustainable living. We want to get to a point where we can transition over to really get behind this and push this to the world, because it does make a difference. Because we have been told directly from different people emotionally that we've made a change in their life. And to me, that's worth more than any dollar I could possibly ever receive from doing this. It was so much more meaningful. But back to the point really quick. So they said to me, I was looking at this other brand hoodie and such and such and such and such. And I'm like, okay, cool. I said, yeah, but so I say, yeah, but are you gonna get a discount with them? No, yeah, but you know what? But yeah, I could check out yours and see what you got. I said, okay, well, do you want me to give you the website? Well, I'll check it out. My pockets ain't where it needs to be now. I said, okay, cool. And I was like, well, yeah. I said, well, what's your effort? Asking about this hoodie? Like, have you seen our qualities of what we have? Have you seen? I got it on now. I've had this particular hoodie for literally wearing it right. So it was like well, do you have a hoodie? Like, I want one that don't have no sleeves on. It was just nitpicking certain nitpicking. I'm like, hold on. I was like, hold on. I said, listen, brother, if you want a hoodie with no sleeve, you can cut the damn the sleeves off.
Do it.
And you'll be fine.
You're not damaging the product.
You know, there was like, well, what about the tights? You guys got them in different colors. You got this. I was like, you know what? At that moment, that's where you know, okay, you're not really committed to believing in our potential.
Yep.
That's the difference. Because you got some people who could support you, but they don't believe in the potential because it doesn't fall in a line with what matters to them.
That's very true.
So if it's not a priority to them, you're not a priority. A lot of the times people prioritize things that are just simple-minded things that is irrelevant to time because it requires no effort.
Right.
So when you are applying effort and being consistent is something that is to be deemed difficult, people either make or they break, they fight or they flight, and that's the reality we have. So again, goes back to initially what you were saying about whether, you know, we believe, you know, are people capable of really being supportive? Yes, it's different forms of being supportive and how you support someone. And again, it's something as simple as you know, if you can help out with something financially with a related, cool. If you are someone who has time and expertise in something, like for example, if you're a photographer, you got a skill set that you can help with somebody out with. That you know that if that's something along the line, maybe an aspiring model, work with them, like help them grow, help you grow. You never know, they might be the next person to take off, and you could be the photographer behind the work. See what I mean about the commonality of being intentional and working together. See, when you're able to work together and you think that way, you achieve more than what you believed you would in the beginning. Everybody wins. Everybody eats. But when you have people who are just selfish and they don't have that mindset, like most people in the world we know today, they don't have that mindset. It's me over we.
Very true.
This is why we are where we are in a lot of the times. And people will continue to be that way until they really are someone who experiences what it's like to not be supported, especially if it's something that they have a God-given talent, a God-given gift. And not only do they have that gift, they know it, they actually try. People would rather see a person fucking fail than to see them succeed as they try.
That's very true.
They'll watch the plane go down in flames than be someone that could give it the oil to keep it up high. And that's where we are, brother.
A lot of people love to say that they were right the entire time that they doubted you. At every single step that you take where you got to take, you take a step forward, you take a couple back, because look, that's life and that's also business, right? In this, all of those people, Phil Knight of Nike, you know, Under Armour, Adidas, all of these companies started from somewhere, right? There was one brand that they were building for decades and decades until it actually hit, and they needed that same support. And I'm sure in our case, as it is now, there are people in their personal lives who didn't support them. They had to go out on their own. They had to you know, sweat equity to make the capital up in order to invest in their own business because nobody out there wanted to. And they saw that vision. And unfortunately, we're at a point in life where only we can see the vision that we are creating. Nobody else can see our dreams. Nobody else can see our vision. Nobody else can dream the dreams that we're dreaming. See? And I think it's, you're absolutely right when it comes to support, because support does not have to mean anything much than just sharing. Doesn't just make a comment. Say, man, these guys are the truth. Check them out. That's it. Requires nothing but a few seconds and your fingers typing on a keyboard or on a phone. That's all it takes. And I'll give you a perfect example, right? Rock Cartel, who you see on the podcast several times, probably 3 now. Every single time we bring him on, and even after, when we're done, we know when we're done and we produce the content and we're sharing it, we're always there in his corner. It does not matter. Our support and our love for what he does is unconditional. And that's because he's putting in the work. He's grinding. He's growing. He's doing all the things right. So why not support somebody like that? Why not hedge your bet on somebody you know that's going to grow immensely? And oh, by the way, looking back 10 years from where we will be in the future, once he gets to this point of just breaking records, being as big as he possibly can, you'll understand that, man, yeah, these guys are in the corner from day one. They supported me every time I had something coming out, whether it was a single or an album. They say, hey, look, come on the Chroma's podcast. Let's chat about it. Let's see what your inspiration for this is, because that's important. How did you find this beats? What was this cover? What was the inspiration for it? How did you market it out there? Who is your audience? All of this matters to an artist because it's important for them to put that out there, because there are probably some people that have never heard about him before, right? There are people in our circles that have not heard about him, just like there are people in your circles that probably still haven't heard about us. But that is how we grow. That is how anybody grows. It's word of mouth, it's sharing on socials, it's talking about us at parties or events. Hey, I heard you guys talking about this podcast, but have you heard of the Achromas podcast? You guys should check it out, right? Here's a quick snippet, right? Open up YouTube, look at a video right there, a few seconds, and I can guarantee you we'll see, because of the content we put out, there will be a lot more people involved and intrigued and in love with what we have to say, because they know that something like this exists. And I know you mentioned it before. I think it was even outside of the podcast, but there's so much shitty content out there in general, especially when it comes to what we do, that it's embarrassing. But those people have such strong support systems that it does not matter about the quality. It's the same thing when it comes to music. You see some of your favorites artists out there that come out with the most terrible songs. The lyrics are probably 4 different words throughout the entire song. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, and that's it. That's the chorus. Those are the verses. That's all it is. And I'm not shitting on him particularly, but he still had the support. He still got millions of views. He still got paid for a song like that, where we are putting out content here without a charge. Content that can literally change your life. And oh, by the way, it has changed lives before. For God's sakes, it's changed our lives.
Yeah.
We've grown through this podcast. We've grown through Achromas Fitness because we are putting in the work, not just on this screen, but outside of this, outside of the doors upstairs, in our own personal lives. Every single week, we are sure to tell you exactly how we acted on what we talked about last week. We're giving you practical examples that even you can do, because our lives are somewhat similar. Most of you guys are probably working a 9-to-5. You're probably doing something on the side as well. On the fitness side, you're probably trying to get back to the glory years that you had. You're trying to get back in shape. You're trying to understand what it takes to remain in shape, to sustain that new lifestyle that you're building. And it's all here. It's all here. Right? I can guarantee you right now that at some point in this video, an ad is going to pop up. And on that ad, there's going to be somebody selling you shit. He's going to be selling you snake oil. And he's going to take you to a course that you're going to have to pay $700 for information that you're hearing here without a cost. So I just want you to know that once you get the support system around you, once you understand exactly what it is that we do and what it is that maybe you need to work on in your own life, I can guarantee you that you would benefit from this. We would benefit from this. The entire community who's listening would benefit from this. The entire country that we're living in, that, oh my God, needs help right now more than anything else in this world. Our country, our planet needs help.
Yeah.
We can help each other if we're less selfish. We can help each other if we're less standoffish. We can help each other if we grow as a community. There's nothing stronger than that. But it starts with you. As much as it starts with us turning this on, saying what's going on, y'all, it takes you to come back to us and let us know exactly what has helped you. And oh, by the way, you can also let us know what doesn't help. Yeah. Let us know exactly, hey, man, I heard y'all say this, but here's my opinion on it. I think y'all are wrong. We will welcome you on the show. Absolutely. So you can have your spot. You can have your opportunity to say what's on your mind, and we can say the same thing too. That's what we're all about here. We're about openness. We're about growth. We're about helping each other. We are about community. And it's important that we continue to support each other, regardless what it may feel like inside for us, regardless if you are not ready to act on what we are saying. The best thing that you can possibly do is share this, because there's somebody out there that may have not seen this that is ready to take action.
Yeah, I can't put it any better than the way you just outlined it all. It's accountability is all we are doing, is just being accountable.
Yep.
We're holding ourselves accountable so that we can do better and be better.
Yep.
And you can too.
100%.
So it starts with just stepping out of that shadow and just supporting because you can, because you choose to, because you want to make a difference. You want to be a part of something that is contributing to a broader picture of a better world. Honestly, I want my kids to grow up in a better world than we're in now.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm doing what I do. This is why I fight every week to be a better man, to be a better friend, to just be a better person and to just believe that there's still hope. And this is one way that we're able to do that, using our God-given talent, the ability to be as healers and to reach people like you. So if you're someone who can get behind that and really recognize something of quality that's out here to make a real difference, that's not looking to be overnight sensation, that's not looking to just take off and just forget our purpose and what we're here for, this is where you need to be at. Because there are a lot of people and things flooded through the gates that shouldn't be here, and they're going to be here. But when you stumble upon something that is meaningful or something that is great, you support it, just like you would support you.
You would support you. That's deep. That's deep. You guys need to continue to support yourselves. Really dive in to understand what support looks like in your own lives too, not just with us. And I know selfishly we always talk about, hey, how do you feel about what we said? What is your outtake on your own life when it comes to support? But if there is a business out there or an artist out there that you are close to in your own personal life, this is you now. There's an artist out there that's close to you, somebody in your family, a really close friend, somebody who just started a business. They're struggling, they're going through it, they're trying to get out there. We want to hear them. We want to hear about them. Put their name in a comment under this, DM us, bring their business to us, and we will shed a light on what they do because you ended up supporting them. So you support a cause, and we will support that cause as well to allow them to grow, to help us grow, because all of us are in this together. So we want to leave you there with that. If there is anybody else out there who is looking for growth, for support, you know where to find us. You heard about us. But for those I know who are probably listening for the very first time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or they might be seeing our faces for the very first time on YouTube, I need you to do 3 things. But before you do that, I'm going to need you to get this name right, because I know we mention it every week, but I don't think a week is enough time for us to keep spending on this. We should probably do it every day, honestly, so that you can get used to this name. But we're going to help you out once again, because it's all about support. ACHROMOUS. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can hear a podcast. If you're watching, mentioned before, YouTube. Here's what you need to do. If you didn't do it at the beginning, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Here is why. It goes beyond support, right? That's what we talked about. That was the conversation that we had today. But if we're looking to improve the well-being of our own families, our own lives, our friends' lives, people outside of what we do that we have never met before that are just going through a struggle right now, if we want to provide an opportunity for them to just grow a bit, 1%, just to let them know, hey, there is somebody out there who's rocking with you. There's somebody out there who's loving what you're doing. They're supporting what you're doing, and they want you to keep growing because you are changing the world 1% at a time. We want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. The next time you are on YouTube, you will see episode 121 on the Acromas podcast. It has to do all about with support. And the best way you can support us is by doing those 3 things. And as we mentioned during this episode, and I cannot believe that this is the case, we'll see, but we do this because we love what we do. Most of all,
it's free to do so.
That's unbelievable.
The power of choice. So we're investing into it. So we're counting on you to do the same, liking our content, sharing it, subscribing to it, turning on that notification bell, and then picking up the conversation. Let's continue it. Let's continue to grow with it. Our perspectives is not law. So we want to grow and learn with you too. Yep. If you do agree with what we're saying, let's continue to speak more and elaborate a little bit more. If you find areas of it that you question or struggle with, or you feel like you want to give an opinion to that can differ from our own, we are totally open for it. Right here. But the only way we know is if you actually apply it. So we appreciate it if you do, and help us continue to develop and move ahead. And before we wrap that up, shout out to all of you out there who has been supportive. So this is not a reference of you, because you guys know who you are, because you make it clear by advocating, sharing, checking in with us, letting us just to see how we're doing, really sincerely being willing to be a part of anything that we got going on, being willing to come on as a guest if need be, to reappear if you got to, not just for yourself, but for us as well. So we do appreciate every single one of you out there. And we know that you know it. And we couldn't have gotten to where we are now without you all. So nothing but love and support. And we're going to continue to keep rocking with all y'all out there too. And again, this is a platform for us to help be a gateway to give support for others too. So as Jay said, definitely make sure to put a comment of those names down below so we can make sure to, reach out and help them, help us, help all of us grow.
I couldn't have said it better. We'll see. It's amazing what we've been able to do so far, and we couldn't have done without you guys. So we want to thank you for the support. We want to thank you for joining us every single Sunday as you do. Thank you for subscribing if you have done so. Thank you for following. Thank you for being a part of the Achromas podcast community. And before we do go, a wise man once said, who is unfortunately no longer with us, take care of yourself and each other. And until next Sunday, it's your boy J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.